This is Lindsay, and it's Monday, March 20. Well, March 24th, 2024, and I'm only laughing or giggling because on Sunday I was at my computer doing something. I was about to make a video, I think, and then all of a sudden, guess who shows up? The narcissist who I have blocked, who I told him I don't want to see him anymore, and it's over, and I'm not going to do anything, because I know what he wants when he comes over here, right? It's pretty obvious because he can't keep his hands off of me, and he's been exploiting me for that long, just using me like I'm a whore, basically. That's how he makes me feel. So he shows up. At least I'm honest about what's going on because I have nothing to hide. Because it's the truth, what I've been through and what I've been battling and how I just want to be left alone right now, like not with anybody, and especially not him. So he shows up, and he's knocking on the window and on the door, and I was recording already, so I started recording all of that, what was going on, and you could barely hear him, because what they do what these narcissistic, controlling, manipulative people do, or I'm talking about in this case men, or it's a man. They act like that. They know that you're angry. They know you're upset. They know that you're reacting to what's going on, right? Because you're pissed off because they show up unexpected. You didn't invite them over. You're busy, and they don't respect your boundaries. And so I started shouting through the door when he was like, please open up the door. I want to talk to you. I want to see you. And I started going off the handle, like screaming loud, and it was all being recorded. I said, fuck you. You're an asshole. You just want your dick sucked, and you're a male whore. I went off, and I just listened to the video again that I recorded, and I was like, wow, I see that I'm really angry. And you know what? It's okay, because that's not the first time I've gotten really angry towards this man. It's the first time it's been recorded like that on video, or my screaming like that. It looks like I'm talking to myself and screaming in the house at nobody, but he's out there on the porch hanging around like a sloth, like a snake. And so yeah, I'm angry, but you can barely hear him because he's not going to start screaming because obviously it's going to cause commotion outside. And then that went on for a few minutes, and then finally I opened the door to go throw something in the trash can, something away, and I just saw him very briefly, and I still ignored him and shut the door. And then but see how this escalates? See what happens when a narcissist loses control? They go crazy. They can't handle thinking that they don't have control over you, and so then they start getting extremely cocky and manipulative, and I'm gonna play some messages of what in the past, and I'll talk about like what I'm gonna play a message that he left me after that happened, when I got really mad like that. And you know what? I'm sorry, but these people, if he is mad, or if I mean that whole thing is over. It's over because I know that he was lying to me all that time, basically leading me on, stringing me along, thinking that it was gonna maybe be a real relationship, when all in fact I was nothing but a friend, or somebody he was using to get what he wanted sexually from me, and treat me like I was just at his beck and call. Whenever he wants to come over, he'll come over. Whenever he needs something, he would just show up, and without even considering that maybe I'm tired, that I don't want to. And of course, I got nothing out of that entire 2 years of being involved with this man. He never took me out to a nice restaurant. He never, he would give me gifts that were very basically to mock me or insult me. It was a very ungenuine relationship, where it was a situationship where I was being used sexually and very much exploited. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point this man put hidden cameras in this house to record this shit, because that's what these perverts do. He's a pervert. He's a sex addict. he's got an alcohol problem, and I don't know what else he does in his free time or whatever, but he's got some severe addictions to sex and alcohol. And honestly, maybe some people can handle that kind of man, but I've already been through that in the past, and it's something I don't want to deal with. I can't be around immature men that can't have a conversation unless it revolves around, them wanting to touch you all the time or get something out of you physically. And especially when you're not even getting anything in return, they don't show any affection towards you. And you start to get grossed out by it after at some point when that just goes on and on for as long as that did. And I was being completely loyal with this man. Yeah, I had opportunities to actually have to get with other men completely intimately, but I didn't, because whenever you're doing that to somebody, like what I was doing to him, with him, that intimate, like my conscience would tell me no, because I can't be doing that to some other man if I'm doing that to this man. It would make me feel sick to my stomach, the thought of it. So I was respectful enough to not do that kind of thing with any other man. And I find that disgusting anyway. That is what a whole prostitute would do, or a whore, a slut. Somebody who is very promiscuous would maybe think nothing twice of doing something intimate with a man that she doesn't even like doing, number one. That's not something that I enjoy doing. And then only because it was giving him pleasure would it's like, well, okay, this guy's getting something out of it. And that was the only way I was able to justify for what I was doing, because I was like, okay, he likes this, okay, it's making him content. And I was able to, force myself to be okay with it, even though I hated doing that, to be honest. It was just really annoying and felt like it was forced, the way he would make me feel obligated and cheap, and like I needed to perform, is how he made me feel, like it was a job and a duty. And he would make jokes and say things like, it's your duty. You have to do, this is your job. He would say things like that to me throughout that whole 2 years of that going on. And I would feel so, whenever a person like that, you're involved with someone like that, and whenever they are not around you after they leave your house or whatever, you start feeling the ways that I would feel about that after he would leave. For days, because I couldn't handle more than seeing that man. At first, it would be like 3 times a week when I first met him, and then maybe twice a week, and then it started to dwindle down to maybe once a week, whereas now it's like I just don't want to have anything to do with him at all, because I was feeling so pressured and obligated. And then he would make me feel like shit about myself, always criticizing me and my appearance and my body, and trying to control everything about me. It was horribly abusive, horribly psychologically abusive, emotionally abusive, because that's not me. That's not who I am. I'm a very deep thinking, spiritually evolved person who likes to know people on a different level than what this man had to offer or could offer. And it was like I couldn't even have any kind of a conversation about anything without him getting distracted and wanting something, without him wanting to be all over my, touching me and getting, it was like, what is wrong with you? Can you have, can we just sit here in the moment and not be, can you but no, with him, it was not that way. That was not possible. And it just kept getting worse and worse. And I was like, I can't deal with this. This is too much. So whenever he would leave, after I would be alone and he would be finally out of here, I'd be waiting for him I'd be happy that he'd go away. He'd beg me, do you want me to spend the night? Do you want me to sleep in your bed? Do you want me to, I'm like, no, I don't. I would like for you to leave. I like to sleep alone. I want to be alone. I want to be by myself in my own bed. I don't want you in my bed. I want to be in bed with you. I miss you. I miss hearing your voice. All these things that they say to manipulate. it's all bullshit, because this guy didn't give a shit about me. He never cared one thing about me. He never even asked me, barely ever asked me anything about what I like in life, what my passions are, anything, nothing. He didn't even know me. He didn't even know my fucking birth date. Okay, they act like they give a shit about you. They act like they're interested, but they don't really care about you at all. It's about what you can do for them, and when and where and how. It's all about that. It's all revolves around you meeting their grandiose, perverted expectations. And what I was doing to this man, as far as how I was doing that to please him intimately, was making me fucking crazy. I felt like I was with a guy who's a closet, maybe he is, maybe he's not, closet gay or bisexual or something. These guys, I kept thinking, does this guy have some kind of a incestuous relationship with his in his family, somebody in his family? Is he gay? Is he bisexual or what? There was something so off about the way he would treat me in that department. And I have not been through that before with any other man. I have had intimate relationships where it's reciprocate, the man reciprocates, there's real intimacy in there, but with this man, there was never that kind of connection, not on my end, not at all, because he could not, it's like his mind was completely elsewhere, and I'd think, well, what's wrong with me? Am I that ugly? Am I that fat? Am I that unattractive? Or what is it? They make you feel really bad about yourself, because what they're doing is projecting all this onto you. And it's like, I'm like, well, I'm not that bad. There's not really anything that terribly wrong with me, is there? But they make you doubt yourself. They make you doubt they make you feel so useless and so ugly and unwanted and disgusting about yourself, because they don't show any sort of, or he never showed any kind of, never reciprocated, never, like, it was no real affection. No, it was all fake. It's like you're with an act. Like, I felt like I was with a porno actor or somebody who's a male escort or a dancer or somebody who doesn't have the ability to emotionally connect with anybody on a real level. And I know that there's a lot of people who just see intimacy or sex especially as just an act and something that they do because they want the instant gratification of fornicating or whatever. And you know what? I may have been like that years and years ago when I was in my 20s and whatever, experimenting and whatever. But as you get older, as I've evolved through trial and error, I've learned that that is not fulfilling. It doesn't do anything for me, and it just makes me feel empty and lousy inside, and it's not worth it. It's better to be alone and celibate for however long you need to be than being with somebody who only makes you feel like a used up object or rag or doll that they can toss around and exploit, and suck your energy, get your energy, steal your energy, and then make you feel like shit about yourself because you feel gross and disgusted of what you just did. And maybe some women, I know some women don't mind doing that, but number one, if this man were my husband and I trusted him, it'd be different. If he were my real boyfriend and it was a real committed relationship, it'd be different. But because of the fact that I was never even his girlfriend, he led me on, he lied to me, he cheated on me, he was involved with other women, and I know he was. He's lied about that. It's obvious that he was. Then then of course I'm going to feel like shit about myself because he made me feel like a fucking whore. Okay? Like a cheap whore. Bringing me tacky outfits that he wanted me to wear, telling me that I needed to dress in high heel. He would do shit that was so fucking mean. It's like, well, dude, if you're going to treat me like that, why don't you just call a fucking escort or call girl or go to the men's club and find a dancer or a prostitute? Because I'm not that. That's not me. And I don't appreciate being exploited like that by you or anybody. And I don't know. I'm not, it made me feel like, well, God, if I'm doing this for this man and going out of my way to try to please him, doing all this that I feel fucking violated and disgusted, and I don't get anything out of it except criticism and maybe a fucking cookie that he would bring, and then all that shit stopped. he was so cheap. But even all that crap stopped, and it got to the point where it's just like being insulted, and it's not worth it. I'm here to say, talking to myself, validating myself, that it is not worth it. It's not worth it to feel like that, because you feel drained. And thank God all that stopped. Thank God I put a stop to it. Thank God I told him, no, go away. And for the past few times that he's shown up, I've told him, no, you're not getting anything out of me anymore. It's over. This is ending. You can go find someone else, but I don't want to know about it. Just delete me. I'm blocking you. And that's it. It's over. I don't want to know what you're doing. Go ahead and have your affairs with the girls at your job, because I know that he's involved with somebody there. I know for a fact that he is, and it is, as well as other women, his so-called clients, who would fucking call him right in the middle of me doing something. There was a time when I was actually doing something to this man that, and think about, go ahead and use your imagination. And then he gets a call on his phone from his boss at work. Right at that moment? Really? Right at that exact moment, his boss called him right when I'm doing something like that. Oh, really? And then another time I remember some girl called him right in the middle of that as well. So that right there tells me that either I'm under surveillance, that either he's filming it, or something weird, or recording it, or something fucking fucked up. Because that was no coincidence. And every single time that I'd be with this man in public, oh, guess who calls? His client calling. All of a sudden she's calling him. It shows up on his car dashboard, so-and-so client calling. I'm like, oh my God, who are you? I'm thinking, who are you? And I don't even want to know how many phone numbers, because one time I glanced at his phone. I was able to see a glimpse of his phone, and there was just string after string, all these messages from all these women and photographs of all these women, right? Text messaging. I'm like, oh my God, how many women do you juggle around with? I mean, it's one thing to have, but the reality is that most men and women cannot just be friends. They all end up wanting something. And this guy, the way he behaved around me, he can't just be friends with a woman that's attractive, because he has no control over his impulses. So I know that if he behaves that way around me, I imagine that how he's around other women that he finds attractive, that are wearing skirts and high heels, or showing their cleavage at a job where they're dressed. I can only imagine. So he's a liar. He's a cheat. He wants to be with anybody and everybody, and he expects people to bow down to his demands. And I'm sorry, but that's not my job, and I'm not going to do that for him when I got nothing out of it and treated like a fucking doormat, and never got to see his house, never was invited to his room, never got to meet his mother, and not like I want to. But I'm just saying it was a fake. Whole thing was fake. Whole thing was basically fake. I was being exploited and just used. And so, I'll be fine. I'm not worried about myself, because I'm a strong, independent woman, and I believe in myself, and I believe in my strength, even though I, can show weaknesses and I go through phases. But I know deep down that I have the determination to get up and keep going, and no one's gonna stop me from that. They haven't in all the years that I've lived here in San Antonio. I've been through some other horrendous psychological, sexual abuse, and I've just gotten back up and just keep going, because I don't let them stop me. I'm not going to let these men or whoever, whatever, try to drag me down with their smear campaign, with their shaming, and then all of a sudden you're fat, or you're ugly, or you're too unattractive, because they'll do anything and everything to use it against you, to make you feel lousy because you reject them or tell them no. They can't handle no. They can't handle somebody who says no. And I know, because I've been through this before. They just can't handle rejection. And then that's when the whole reverse hoovering and reverse discard shit starts happening. And it gets kind of funny, because they whenever they know they've lost control over you, they'll start leaving messages like I can show you Oh, he left me, and I'm not going to play it right now, but I can play it at some other point in another video to show you some of the desperate messages at that. And it's like, how the fuck is this guy able to call me even though I have him blocked? And so I'm like calling my phone provider, explaining what's going on, and they're like, well, you have to. He's got some kind of an app installed where he's able to call you anyway. And I'm like, well, how is that possible? So they told me that what they do is these people, whenever you block somebody, they can install some kind of software on their phone that enables them to still call you even though you have them blocked. And so that's apparently what's been going on, is that the way he's been able to still, even though I've had him blocked, he's still able to call me and leave me voicemail messages, and it just goes directly to voicemail. But I don't know, like I said, it's because he has some kind of an app installed on his phone, I guess, because that's what my phone provider said. I didn't want to have to change my phone number again for the third time in the past year. Okay, and stupid me, I had changed it and then given him my new number again. But if I ever end up changing my number again, I'm certainly not giving it to him. And other people probably as well I won't be giving it to. But, I'm just saying, you can change your number. You can do move out of the country. You can move to another part of the city. And somehow these people still track you down. They'll create fake profiles on Facebook. They'll create fake dating profiles if you're on a dating site when you're trying to really meet a legit person. They'll interfere with everything in your life to try to control your entire life. And they will not stop until they feel that they have a one-over on you or they are trying to get revenge. And this is what they'll do. This is what some of these narcissistic people will do. Because they, and don't. I've learned now. Okay, this is all, it's all fake emotions. If they act like they care or say they care, it's all fake. It's not real. Don't let them back into your life. Don't let them back into your home, because it all starts as soon as that happens. The cycle just keeps on repeating itself. It's not going to end. And I realize now I'm the one in control. He can do his smear campaign. They can do whatever they want, but I'm the one who's putting down my foot and saying, no more. I'm not taking your abuse. I'm not taking your manipulative shit anymore. That's it. No more. So now I really don't care what he does. It's like I already know. Now I feel indifferent. You get to a point where you just don't care about what since you already figured them out and the mask has been shown or taken away and their cover is blown. You already know. So it's like, do you really care? No. I mean, I did. I used to care, and I'd get sad and feel like, I feel hurt. But now it's like beyond that. I just feel indifferent. You reach a point of first it's sad, feeling humiliated, degraded, and then you get angry. There's an anger stage of the abuse when the discard and all that shit, or you've discarded them. And then there's a stage where you just don't care. You feel indifferent to what they're doing, who they're doing it with. You just don't want to know, and you don't care. And that's the point where you know that you're healing and recovering, and when you've reached a pinnacle of just indifference, of not really wanting to know, not caring, just indifference, is being neutral and not wanting to, like I said, but they'll keep on coming back to trigger your anger and to try to trigger your emotions. But if you can just not care, because they're going to keep trying to do that to make you care, to shove it in your face what's going on, to rub it in your face. And it's like, good, go out with whoever you want, do what you want. I just don't care. I don't care. I really don't. I'm moving on. I want to move on. I want my peace. I want to be left alone. And if you can't accept that, then you're not welcome into my life. You're not welcome into my home. And that's that. And too bad if you can't take no for an answer. You're going to have to learn to take no for an answer. Because after too many times of letting them back in, knowing good and well that they fucking lied and cheated and took advantage of you and you keep letting them back in only to go through the whole thing over and over again, the abuse and the torment and the manipulative crap, then that's my problem as well. And this, what he had the audacity to do was call me and say, "Oh, he left me a message," and it's like I almost just have to feel like I've got to. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just realized that I cared about you, Lindsay. I always cared about you, and God bless you, he said, and I hope you find the help you need. Aha! I hope you find the help you need, he says. It's like, oh, really? I'm doing what I want to do every day. I'm still living my life. Maybe you're projecting. Why don't you go find the help you need, i.e. getting help from a professional, realizing you have a sex addiction and probably a closet alcoholic, God knows what else. But you know what? I don't want to know. But that's what they do, is like, project. And at some point I'll play that message and record it so that, I have evidence of that as well.